Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Danisha. This is my channel called Feeding Five. I hope you guys all had a happy Easter. I'm sorry if you haven't heard from me in a little while. We've been busy with a lot of things that's been going on with Levi. I'm gonna do an update soon on that. Also, I've been having some trouble with my MacBook as well, uploading videos. I don't know why. But yes, happy Easter to all of you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the holiday. I did not record during Easter. It was my daughter's first Easter, Mia's first Easter. So we just spent it with family, dinner, church, just something simple, but I wanted to keep it private. But today's video is going to be totally different. It's not really a family vlog. It's more of a personal, emotional, inspirational vlog. So I'll get into that in a few minutes. Just to start off first, a few weeks ago there was a social media movement, and when I saw it, I knew I wanted to do a video on it, and it was called the hashtag I am not okay domestic violence movement. And a lot of women, or teenagers, or whoever, men as well, would come out with videos on their experience with domestic violence and why it was not okay and how they are not still okay. And I saw a few of them actually from really big movie stars, and I was like, wow, sometimes people who you least expect are going through it are the ones that are going through these things. And I found this to be really inspirational, even myself, just hearing these stories. So I'm going to do a little bit of a back history first before I get into anything that I've been through. First of all, I am one of 7 kids. My mom had 7 kids, 5 with my dad and 2 with her divorce, my stepfather, they divorced. So I'm the middle child. I'm one of five girls, and then there's 2 boys. I just want to speak this video to inspire someone. I knew starting this channel that I was going to want to make this video, and then it just so happened the movement that went on social media started. So this is going to be a long video probably. If you don't have time to hear it right now, I would just put it away, or save it and watch it when you have time. So I'm one of 7 kids. I have a few memories when I was a child. When my mom was with my father, I was 3 years old, I believe, when she left him. I only have like 2 memories of me being that age, small, with my dad. I do remember us being in a very tiny apartment. I remember me running around with my brother and sisters. I remember it being very loud. I remember my dad coming home after work with 2 black little grocery bags, one with his beer, and then one with soda, my mom's favorite, Coke with chocolate kisses. And I remember he would always bring me and my brother and sisters candy. So I remember him coming home and opening the door and us running to him because we already knew what he had. So I do have those memories. When I think about them, I'm happy. When I was 3, my mom met a man that I'm gonna not mention. I'm not gonna say his name for privacy reasons. She met my then stepfather. She met him while she was still with my dad. So I don't know if there was infidelity. I'm not really sure. But she ended up falling in love with this man. He convinced her to move away to Florida. So this is a man that would have forever marked my life and my brother and sister's life, and unfortunately still affects my brother and sister's lives till today. My mom moved away. My dad had no idea. He came home one day. We weren't there. He went to my grandma's house and she told him, my mother, I'll keep her name private, I guess, for now. She moved away. They moved to Florida, and that was that. My dad actually fell into drugs after. I think it was just devastating for him to realize that his 4 girls and his only son moved away. He had no idea. My dad, if you meet him, he's a very sweet man. He's so loving. He is such a people person. I came out like him in that area. And he continues today to be a great father, but at that time he fell into drugs because of what happened. And forever since, he's always had a struggle with, I guess, those inner demons. But right now, I can say he's good. He is living a happy life. Those things that he battles with, he no longer battles. It's been years, I think, that he's been back since he battled that. But that did mark his life as well. So we moved to Florida, and then that is when, once we moved, I can no longer, right now when I think about my childhood, I can't recall many happy memories after my dad. I remember a lot. I can't tell you a happy memory. I don't consider myself a victim of domestic violence. I consider myself a survivor, but it took a long time for me to consider myself that. So throughout those years in Florida, he was physically abusive to my mom, really bad. He was physically abusive the most to me and my little brother. We're exactly like a year apart. We were born in the same month, November. That's why we're so close as well. We were abused the most. But he also did abuse my other brothers and sisters as well. I'm gonna remain silent and I'm not gonna say what their experiences were because I don't know if they want that stuff out there. A lot of us were able to move on from these experiences and live happy lives, and some of my brothers and sisters cannot because these things still haunt them, till today. So growing up, I was physically abused. I was sexually abused, and it was not okay. I know you guys are probably thinking, well, didn't her mom? No, my mom. I think she was also a victim at that time of domestic violence and sexual abuse, and I think that it was just so hard for her to come out of it that she didn't know how to come out of it with 5 kids, and she had 2 kids from him. So it just, I don't know, she never took us out of it. I can't say why. As a child, I can't recall happy memories with my stepfather at the time and my mom. I just always remember violence and arguing and just a lot of nights of being scared of what's going to happen, if I'm going to sleep okay that night. And that's not okay for a little girl to feel that way. So if you're right now watching this and you are experiencing domestic violence as a mother or as a girlfriend, as a daughter, as just a person that's enduring domestic violence in any way, get out of the situation. The person that is abusing you, it's not okay for them to do that, and you should not feel bound to a person like that. That person needs help, and you yourself need to get yourself out of it. If you have children that are also involved and they are being abused, me speaking as a child that was abused for most of her childhood and early teen life, take your kids out of it. Go to the police station, go to the fire department, call DCF, do what you have to do to get out of the situation. Speak to family members that you trust in to help you and just get out of the situation, because these damages are going to be forever for you and for your child if you do not leave now. It's not okay to feel inferior to somebody. It's not okay to feel like you are helpless. And I know how that feels like as a little girl, to feel helpless. Um, so throughout my childhood, I was sexually abused by this man as well. If this part of the video looks weird, it's because I'm actually adding it because I forgot to mention a few things. So when I was 8 years old, I was molested by this man. Um, and I told my mom, and she didn't believe me. I don't know why an 8-year-old would lie about that, but unfortunately, those are things that happened when I was young. And then it happened again when I was 12. And I remember at that moment, I didn't say anything for a whole year because I didn't think she would believe me. I was 8 and I remembered when she didn't believe me. And so when I was 12, I figured she wouldn't believe me. She wouldn't, I felt helpless. And so for a whole year, I didn't say anything. Um, and then when I was 13, so I remember we moved to Puerto Rico for 1 month exactly. And while we were out there, I was again scared because I was like, this is the second time that this man moved us away from my family. And I was already older at this time. Um, and so I kind of already was starting to regain confidence and knowing that I can do something about this. And I can't just keep letting this happen. Because while we were there for just that 1 month, I was already seeing him acting a certain way. And I was like, if I don't speak up and say something and be stern with my mom, this man, he might rape me. He might do something worse. Um, so I remember when I told her this happened, we were in a living room, me, her, and him. And I was older, so I wasn't scared. I wasn't an 8-year-old scared little kid. And, him saying, no, she's lying. I was 12. And at that time, I was actually 13 when I spoke about it. So I told her, he was there, and he was kind of shocked that I said anything. But I knew that he knew, I feel like he knew he couldn't deny it because I was older, come on now. And my mom, it was weird because I know my mom knew at that moment she had to do something. She couldn't just let it slide again. Um, so we ended up moving back down to Connecticut, and then a year from then they divorced. And I was living with my aunts, and there was a lot of a mess as a teenager from that experience. just because she did divorce him, but there was a lot of damage that was already done, and a lot of insecurities that I had, and my relationship with her was really bad, especially in my teen years. Family members did know, and I did find solace in a few of my aunts whom I love and hold close to my heart. And they also tried as much as they could to help and to speak out, and the police were called. And that's what I'm saying, these systems are just so broken because I continued in this until I was 13. Um, I remember I'll speak about two situations that I went through, just so you guys can see the severity of how I was abused. I remember one time I was like 7 years old and I saw scissors, so I just cut my hair. You're 7 years old, you just cut your. I think everybody has gone through this, and I chopped a piece of my hair, and I was scared. I was like, oh my god, like you're gonna be able to notice, and I was only 7, so I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I remember my stepfather, he saw that my hair was cut, and in my room there was like clothing lines that you can just to hang clothes, of course. And I remember he told me, hold on to the clothing line. I was standing on my bed and I held on to the clothing line. And he started to punch me in my stomach. And I'm 7. I'm a little girl. This is a very big, huge man punching me. And I remember I doubled over and I would be forced to hold on to the clothing line again as he continued. My mom, I don't think she was there because she used to work nights in a hospital cleaning. And I remember me and my brother would actually call those nights like the night of horrors because we never knew what would happen. He was very abusive. So anything that we would do that was out of line, leave a wrapper somewhere, we would get beat up, among other things. So I remember that one time that happened. That one really stuck to me because I remember being little and just feeling helpless, and it was just hurt and I didn't know what to do. And so that's why this movement, I feel like it's so important to speak on, because it's not okay for a 7-year-old little girl to feel that way, to feel helpless, to feel like she doesn't have anybody to defend herself. And that was throughout my childhood what I always felt. I just felt helpless. I felt like I told teachers, there was so many people that knew, but the system is so broken that it's just, you don't really have too much help. So if you are watching this and you have a family member you can go to, if you are a teenager watching this and you're enduring abuse and your parents won't listen, or your mother or your father, go to a family member that is willing to take you in and just save yourself so you can feel safe. So these thoughts is kind of hard to think about because I feel like I've put these thoughts deep in my mind, like to never be really opened. Throughout the years, of course, my young child life, I continued to be abused. There was times where it was worse and where it was not so bad. As I became older, it wasn't as bad as when I was younger because I was able to vocally speak on it. But I remember being very depressed, writing really depressing poems, and my family were scared that I was going to kill myself. And I've never had suicidal thoughts, thank God. But I just always battled with myself. I feel like why did I stay quiet for so long, or not stay quiet because I spoke, but why didn't I just leave? It's just sometimes for me, I felt a lot of guilt. I felt guilt for myself. Like I felt guilty because I was being hit, I was being abused, and I felt guilty, and I don't know why. I don't know why I felt that way. um so it's hard, it's kind of hard to talk about. um I forgave this man when I was 18 years old. Me and my husband, we happened upon a church. We visited a church who we love, who to this day we still go to, and I love my pastors. And through the healing of Jesus, I was able to forgive this man. I wrote him a letter forgiving him and telling him that he no longer has power of my emotions. He no longer has power of the fact that I am not happy, because I will live a happy life. And that is when exactly I decided to call myself a survivor. Not a victim, a survivor. I've survived domestic violence. I survived sexual abuse. My mom, our relationship is still rocky. That I was just so angry towards my mom, and I hated her so much at one point. Um, and through serving God, I was able to forgive her. She was the hardest one to forgive, if I'm honest. Just because as me right now, as a mom, and I'm sorry if the quality is really bad. And I told you my house quality is really bad. I tried to sit next to a window, but it still sucks. Me having kids, I always look at them and I'm like, wow, the days and every moment that we're laughing and we're happy. I think this is beautiful. Like, I want them to remember this because I don't remember memories of me being happy as a child or as my teenage years. I remember feeling very confused and just angry. Um, I remember lashing out on my mom when she also was healing. She also was going through a lot of stuff because of everything she's been through in life that I still have yet to know about exactly everything she's been through. Um, but I was 14, 15, 16, 17. I didn't sympathize with her. But at 18, I did forgive her. I sat down and I spoke to her and I told her, you know, I hated you at one point. I wished you were dead at one point. Me and my brother both, I remember we both wanted her to be dead. And that's sad to say. But it's because we had so much hatred towards our mother because we felt like she should have protected us and she should have saved us and she should have. But she was just so weak in herself, she wasn't able to. So to this day, I don't hold a grudge against her. Um, I feel bad for her actually. I feel really bad that she wasn't able to do this for her kids. She regrets it. She's always saying that she was a bad mom and that she wishes she would have helped us and that she would have did more. And right now she does that with my kids. I see how she is with my kids, and I know that is because she doesn't forgive herself for how she raised me. So she just wants to be the best grandmother, I guess, to her grandkids. So I was able to forgive her. I was able to forgive this man. But I wanted to speak out on the hashtag I am not okay. It was not okay as a child to feel helpless. It was not okay as a child to feel inferior to this monster. Um, it was not okay to not have help. It was not okay to go to sleep and not know if I was safe. It was not okay to go home and never feel like I was home. It was not okay to feel helpless. It was not okay to be hurt the way I was hurt. That one example I gave you is one of many. It's not even the worst one because I don't want to get too into the details. I was sexually abused by him. I was molested twice. It was not okay to be so young and have your mind open to those things. It was not okay for a little girl to be robbed of her innocence. It was not okay for no one to be able to take me out of that situation. And that's why I'm speaking this story, because if you are a mother that your kids are being abused or being sexually hurt from someone, you need to protect them. If you are a father watching this and your children are being hurt, you need to protect them. They are looking towards you to protect them and to watch over them. If right now you are watching this and you are the abuser, you are the molester, you are the person that's attacking these people, you need to stop and seek help for yourself and figure out why it is you are doing this to somebody. If you're watching this and you are that person, you need to stop, because the damage that you are doing are going to forever mark their life. And I pray for whoever's watching this, if you are a victim or a survivor, that you can find healing in hearing this, that you can live a happy life eventually. Through forgiving these people, I was able to let go of a burden that until I was 18 and 19 was always on me. And even me myself, I don't like sharing this sometimes because I don't want people to see me as a victim, because I am not a victim. I'm so proud of myself for reaching this far in my life and for not letting these experiences affect me. And I actually feel like, not that they affect me, they have taught me so much. They've marked me in good and bad ways. The bad ways I have learned to forgive. And in the good ways, I learned to take these experiences and just every time my kids go to sleep and I see that they're safe, it just warms my heart, because I never had that growing up. I never laid in bed feeling good or feeling safe. I was never read books to go to sleep. I never had anybody to pray with me to go to sleep. And that's what I do with my kids every night. I pray with them before we go to sleep. We read a book just about every night. And we, every day, maybe not all day, every day, but every day, my kids are smiling and laughing. And that is what brings me peace, knowing that my kids are okay and that I'm doing everything that I can to protect them. So yeah, if you are right now somebody that has past tense, that has gone through this, whether it's you were molested as a child, whether you were raped, whether you were physically abused, whether you were emotionally abused, I hope that you can find some kind of peace. whether it's going to therapy, whether it's going to church, whether it's speaking about your problems, whether it's, reading or hearing music, something that can bring you peace. I would advise you to do something that brings you that peace. I count myself lucky. I don't think that a lot of people can heal from what I've been through. I see it in my brothers and sisters. I see that some of them are still healing. Some of them may never heal. Um, and I pray that they will. The man that marked our life this way, they hate. And I don't blame them. I at one point hated this man as well. I at one point hated my own mother, and that's not okay to feel that way. Um, which is why my peace is going to church, listening to peaceful music, speaking about my problems. Um, I find peace in that. If you have gone through this, just know that it was not your fault. There was nothing that you could have done to stop that person. And I think that's where the guilt comes from. You feel like I should have done more. Me as a child, I was a little girl. I didn't know what else I could do but tell my mom, but tell my teachers, but tell DCF, police. Everybody was involved in my situation, and I was left in that home. I don't cry really anymore because I think that I have no more tears left to cry. I've moved on from it. But when I think about it, it makes me sad for that girl that went through this, and that she's in me, and that I never had a childhood. That makes me sad. But I think what makes me even sadder is my brothers and sisters still, some of them still being affected by this and what they went through, and that they still can't seem to find forgiveness or peace. And that's the hardest part for me. I wish they could find that. But everybody's different. Not everybody can heal or grow or move on from this. So if you have gone through this, just know that if you try to find peace in yourself, and if you've already removed yourself from the situation, know that you are strong. Know that you are a survivor. You're a warrior. And speak your story. If you have gone through domestic violence, sexual abuse, and you think that you can speak and show an example of the hashtag I am not okay movement, you can show, well, you know what, I am okay now. You weren't okay, maybe. I wasn't okay growing up, but I'm okay now. I'm thankful, I'm grateful because my family is happy and I'm able to give them what I didn't have as a child. Um, and just know that if you try to move on and try to find peace, you can give your kids a better life. A lot of people that go through this don't want to have kids because they say, look what I went through when I was a child. To bring a child into this world where there's people that can do these things to a kid, it's hard. If I can take one thing that I went through and give one piece of advice to sum this all up, I think that would be that you will be okay. Maybe right now you're not okay. Maybe right now you're still hurting. Maybe right now um, you still feel anger. You still feel sadness, and it's okay that you feel like that right now. That's okay. But one day you will be okay. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not a week after, maybe not a year from now. But if I can advise you to try to piece yourself together, sometimes as we go through things like that, we feel like broken pieces. We feel like a puzzle with a lot of missing pieces. Because in my puzzle of life, I guess, I don't have the happiness of a childhood as a piece to my puzzle. And that's okay because I feel that with what I have now with my kids. And so anytime it's their birthday or Easter or Thanksgiving, I feel like I live vicariously through them. So I make a big deal out of it and we're so excited for it because growing up, go figure, this man was a very religious man. I won't say what religion because I don't want anybody to bash that religion because I think it's just him as a person. He just had a lot of demons, horrors within himself that he didn't know how to fix, how to heal. Um, but we couldn't celebrate a lot of holidays and our birthdays I never had a birthday as a child. I never had a birthday party, which is crazy. But that's why I make such a big deal to my kids when it's their birthday parties because I feel like I'm living through them. So that piece in my puzzle of life is missing, but my kids feel it. So right now you might have a lot of pieces missing and that's okay. In one way or another in your life, there will be something to fill that piece. And as of right now, just focus on yourself and your healing process and what you can do to be a better you. Not everybody can forgive their attacker. That's hard to do. And I will say another thing is, I remember I wrote to him and I forgave him. Never heard from him. I never heard from him again. I know he received my letter because he wrote me back. I didn't respond to his letter because I was already done with what I was already done with that part of my life. So when I was pregnant with my first Josiah, I was still living in my mom's house because we were in the process of getting our own apartment. So we were staying with her to save money. And he came down to visit his daughter and his son. And so he stopped by the house to grab them, whatever. Me and my husband, we were at a bakery in downtown where we lived at, just getting breakfast. And while I was sitting there, I seen him walking with his new wife and her kids. So he was walking past the bakery. They were going to go in the bakery. So I was like, I didn't get scared or anything. I was like, wow, so I'm going to be face to face with him. I told my husband, my ex-stepfather's coming in. You already know what he's done. Please don't start a fight or something. I'm okay. I forgave him. Because my husband, he's just, he's not like I am. He's not as forgiving. I don't blame him. So I remember he walked into the bakery. And it's funny because before that, I prayed and I said, God, I know one day I will come face to face with him. Prepare me for that day. Because it's easy to say, I forgive you. It's harder to be in front of the person and actually show forgiveness. So we came to face with each other. I said hi, and he was like, oh my God, call me by my nickname that my family calls me. And he's like, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. He's like, wow, you're big, And it was just very, only a few minutes, because after that we left. He's like, you guys want anything? I'm like, no, we're good. But it was good seeing you. Take care. And that was it. But I was able to show that I forgave. And that was, to me, the biggest obstacle that I could have ever overcame in my life. And I'm proud of myself for that. So for you, so I can sum this video up, you being the victim or the survivor, however you call yourself right now, be proud of yourself that you are out of that situation. Feel proud of yourself. I think that that's something that's hard when you have gone through these things, for you to feel proud of anything, for you to feel happy about anything. You just feel ashamed, you feel guilt, things that you should not feel, because none of it was your fault. And even my mom, I tell her this, I know that as a mom, you should have did so much more, but you were battling your own weaknesses. And it is what it is. All you can do now is move forward. So that is my domestic violence story. I hope that it was inspirational in some way. I hope that if you have gone through this, you can also make a video on your social media page and speak out on it to help others also speak out. And that is it. If you have any questions or maybe more information you want from this video, you can leave it in the comments below. Maybe if I forgot to say something, I can answer that question. Feel free to reach out to me if you need advice or anything. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I have a lot of more things I've gone through as a youth, as a Christian, as a mother, as a wife that I want to continue to speak about. But this is one of the big ones that I wanted to talk about. And so I hope that you guys can take a piece of this, and maybe this can be that puzzle that you were missing in your life. Maybe now you can see someone was able to move past this, and so can I. So as always, God bless you guys. Me and my husband, my family, maybe you're watching, we don't know you. I send love towards your way. And also, if you have not found Christ, I never usually say this in my channel. People know I'm a Christian, but because it's Easter, because we do have our beliefs, I am Christian. I don't put a title over that. I'm a Christian. I believe in Christ. I believe in forgiveness. I believe in love. If you have not found Christ in your life, that is a big part for me on why I was able to move forward, why I was able to move on, because I was able to let go of that and find love and happiness in Jesus. So that was my story. And I'll see you guys next time.